Throughout history, the color white has been known to represent innocence and purity. This is not one of those times. The use of lead as part of a white pigment is dated back to around 4 BCE in ancient Greece. By grinding up white lead, they were able to make a pigment, one that many Greek women used in face masks in order to improve their complexion. It was thought to improve their skin and rid it of blemishes, and even improve the skin's color. But unfortunately, as it was made out of lead, it did quite the opposite. In fact, similar lead-based beauty treatments were still marketed up into the 19th century, even though they actually did the opposite by causing scars and skin ruptures. The full extent of lead poisoning is quite extreme, causing not only high blood pressure, memory loss, but sometimes fertility issues and even psychological issues. It also affects your heart, meaning that it can eventually be deadly. But the people of ancient Greece didn't quite catch on to this, and they continued to use lead for their white pigments. Most Greek statues were actually colorful and painted like this one. They're only completely white now because they've faded after so much time. Queen Elizabeth herself was known to use a white lead-based pigment in order to cover up her blemishes. She had many scars from smallpox and wanted to cover them up. Unfortunately, putting lead on her face for so long only continued to scar it. I mean, just look at these little lead cake tablets. I mean, not cakes in the sense that they're edible, but you'd use them for basically whatever you needed cosmetically or paint-wise. And of course, lead in paint was very common, honestly, until quite recently in the grand scheme of things. Many paintings utilized white lead paint like this one, and so many others. Mere exposure to being around lead can lead to all of those poisonous symptoms, so it's a wonder that all of these painters were able to survive as long as they did. But that's just one of many reasons why life expectancies back then were not what they are today. Many old buildings that are abandoned likely still have lead paint in them. Lead paint was marketed as being able to last longer than other types of paint. It was very common back in its heyday. I guess we'll never truly know how many people died from lead poisoning, as it wasn't really recognized until the past century. A lot of the psychological issues that people experienced due to lead poisoning were probably written off as just madness. It's just nice to know that white is a very easy to make color these days, and if you're buying from a reputable place, it definitely doesn't contain lead.